Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. So we are reading from the book Message of Godhead by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrila Prabhupāda. So let's continue from where we had left yesterday. Formerly, the people of India, now misnamed as Hindus, followed Varnashram Dharma or Sanatan Dharma, the system that organizes human affairs according to our social orders and four spiritual orders. Those in the three highest social orders, namely the Brahmanas, the instructive order, the Kshatriyas, the administrative order, and the Vaishyas, the productive order, would all lead the life of Vaishnavism, or centering every action upon the Supreme Deity Vishnu. In all the four spiritual orders, students, householders, retirees, and renunciants, Vishnu was being worshipped, especially in the householder order. Particularly, the Brahmana householders would worship Vishnu without fail, and even now the descendants of those Brahmanas continue to worship Vishnu daily as their family deity. These spiritually cultured people would do everything for the sake of Vishnu. According to their capacity, they would buy foodstuffs and cook them for the worship of Vishnu. Then the meal they offered to satisfy Vishnu became prasadam, the Lord's mercy, the remnants of his meal, and would be eaten by them. What was possible in days gone by and is still being done here and there, even today can again be made possible in all spheres of life by a little adjustment suitable to time, place, and people. In this way, everyone can get free of the binding network of actions and reactions. The learned sages say that to approach the lotus feet of Vishnu is to get liberation. We can satisfy our ordinary desires by satisfying the transcendental senses of Vishnu, which is the ultimate goal of Karma Yoga. If we do not perform our duties in this manner, then certainly any and all work we do will produce nothing but poisonous material results, and ultimately there will be disaster in the world. By doing everything for the satisfaction of Vishnu and taking the remnants of the offerings made to Vishnu, we can get rid of the vices and sinful reactions that accumulate in the course of our performing our prescribed duties. Although we may take so many precautions against these vices and sinful reactions, even in the course of ordinary business exchanges and ventures, we have to commit so many sins. For instance, we find it necessary and unavoidable in the business dealings to speak lies, not to mention the volumes of lies that are spoken by members of legal profession. Lawyers have to resort to all sorts of trickery to get around a law in which their clients have become entangled. And of course, the members of other professions as well as those who are in the service of others have to do the same kind of thing without fail. Intentionally or unintentionally, one has to commit such sins and incur the sinful reactions without any doubt, even if we take all precautions to protect ourselves against committing any sins. And Vaishnavas, the devotees of Vishnu, naturally take all such precautions. Still, unconsciously, we kill many ants and other insects while discharging even the most ordinary duties, such as walking from one place to another. Even while simply drinking water, we kill many tiny aquatic creatures, and we also kill many living entities merely by cleaning our homes or when eating or sleeping. In sum, we cannot avoid all the sins we incur, even unconsciously, in the ordinary course of life. According to the laws of man, a person may be hanged when he commits homicide, but he is not hanged when he kills lower animals. According to the laws of God, however, one also commits sin by killing a lower animal. We are punished by the laws of God for either action. Those who do not believe in the laws of God or even in His existence may go on committing such sins, and they may not come to their senses despite the countless sufferings they are put into for committing such sins. But that does not affect the existence of God or His eternal laws. The law books known as Smritis mention 5 kinds of sin which everyone inevitably commits, even unwillingly. They are as follows: sins committed by scratching, sins committed by rubbing, sins committed by starting a fire, sins committed by pouring water from a pot, and sins committed by cleaning one's house. Even if we do not intentionally commit any sins, we will commit the above 5 kinds of sin without a shadow of doubt. Thus, it is essential that we eat the remnants of food offered to Vishnu, since this will allow us to escape the reactions of all sins we have committed unconsciously and unavoidably. For this reason, the worship of Vishnu still goes on in the households of the followers of Sanatana Dharma, and especially in the households of the Brahmanas. Unfortunately, those who cook food only to satisfy their senses and not for offering to Vishnu have to undergo punishments for all the sins they have committed consciously or unconsciously while discharging their prescribed duties. Therefore, the leaders of all countries and communities should first be sure to satisfy Vishnu for their own benefit and for the benefit of those whom they profess to lead. As the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna advises Arjuna, what is done by the leader is followed by the ordinary man. Whatever the leader establishes as truth, the followers take it to unhesitatingly. All leaders should thus ponder how they can set a good example for their followers by discharging their duties in such a way as to satisfy the transcendental senses of Vishnu. But alas, the time has already come when the leaders, whom ordinary men regard as beacons, are themselves mostly atheists at the bottom of their hearts and are against the principles laid down by Godhead. As such, what can they do for the satisfaction of the transcendental senses of Vishnu? And if they do not do everything for the satisfaction of the transcendental senses of Godhead, how can they expect to drag themselves or their followers from the mire of sins committed in the course of discharging prescribed duties? If the leaders do not recognize the existence of the all-powerful Vishnu, who is simultaneously both the supreme transcendental personality and the impersonal spirit existing everywhere, then what will ordinary man understand about him? He is the supreme enjoyer of everything that be, and thus none of us, however great we may be, can be the enjoyer of the universe and its paraphernalia. Since our position is subordinate to that of the Almighty Vishnu, the Supreme Godhead and Supreme Controller, we can enjoy only what comes from Him as a token of His kindness. We must not enjoy anything that is not offered by Him. We should not make any extra effort to obtain anything that belongs to Him or others. That is the spirit of Vaishnavism. In the Ishopanishad, this same spirit is described as follows. Whatever we see existing throughout the universe is intrinsically the property of the Supreme Enjoyer, and one may enjoy those things that are kindly given by Him, but one must never touch the property of others. Therefore, civic and other popular leaders should center their activities upon Vishnu, and by this act of transcendental work, they will themselves be benefited and shall be able to do good for their respective followers. If these leaders, including preachers and heads of state, do not perform this act of Vaishnavism and instead place themselves artificially in the exalted position of Vishnu, the Supreme Enjoyer, then they may indeed enjoy temporary gain, adoration, and mundane fame, and by a false display of renunciation, they may delude their unfortunate followers into rejecting the right path. But such materialistic godless leaders will never be able to do any good for the ignorant souls who follow them like a flock of sheep to the slaughterhouse. By such leadership, the leader himself is temporarily benefited, but the followers are put into the worst position. The leaders incite them toward illusory gain and thus engage them in various acts of sin. In temporarily benefiting themselves, such leaders sacrifice the real interest of their followers and destroy them. Such leaders do not know that their temporary gains will vanish along with the destruction of their temporary body, but the acts of commission and omission they perform made by them during their lifetime of leadership will remain in the psychic engagement of mind, intelligence, and false egoism in a very subtle form, and the subtle psychic life will develop again in another suitable body by the process of transmigration of the spirit soul, and thus their former acts will subject them to the ordeals of various wills of action and reaction, obliging them to transmigrate from one body to another for many, many years. And the people in general will follow what the ignorant leaders ask them to do. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, let's stop here for today. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.